What is going on, YouTube? This is the Lifeboat. I am Captain Calhoun speaking. What is going on, folks? Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to talk about navigating non-sober spaces as a sober individual. Today, pretty excited. It's a great topic. It's been a while since we've done this one as well. I figure we're going to it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm gonna take you on this little journey here. Tammy Hardage, good to see you. Deaudre Gore, mocked, good to see you. TKK, surviving together. Shannon Smith, what is going on, guys? Casey, well, navigating non-sober space invader. We're gonna invade some non-sober spaces as sober individuals because we don't stop living our lives to the fullest just because we got sober, right? It's like the exact opposite of the point. It's like the exact opposite of the point. We got sober so that we could live our lives to the fullest, right? We cleaned our act up so that we could live better. So how do we do so? How do we go about our daily business when there's going to be alcohol present, most likely at all these places? Maybe there's going to be some drugs present. Who knows? You never know what to expect, right? Well, we do so with preparation and a helping hand, because you're not alone. There are a bunch of people that are wondering exactly how to navigate non-sober spaces as a sober individual right now, everywhere in the world. It is a phenomenon for sure, because the temptation is real, right? We all drank and drugged for so long for good reason, right? It definitely drops chemicals on the brain. It definitely makes the reward system go ding, 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 right? So how are we going to do that without drugs now? Well, the first thing is I would ask some questions. What are your intentions with this event, with this outing, whatever it is you're going to do, this non-sober space that you're going to invade? What's your intent? What are you going to be doing? If your intent is just to go fart around, I don't know if that's the best plan, unless you have a proven track record of successfully doing so without relapsing, so to speak. But if your intent is to go enjoy a parade with my friends, or just something to do, also probably isn't a very good purpose, a very good intention, right? But if our intentions are pure and good, if there's not a whole lot of room to slip and fall into a bottle of alcohol, then you're in good shape. So you know what your intent is. Do you have reservations? Good morning, Scooby Lee. Good to see you. Rocket Queen. What you reading, Scoob? Space Jeezel, what's going on? Thank you very much, good sir. It's always a pleasure to see you. Still waking up with my coffee here. I was going to do the importance of routine today, but my routine is kind of in flux, so I didn't think it would be a very good time to talk about a good routine when mine isn't very good. So hence I'm catching up with the coffee right now. That's what that was, an explanation. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Do you have reservations? What are the reservations? What are reservations? Well, reservations are when I say to myself, if my dad dies, I'm gonna not stay sober. If my dad dies, I'm gonna go get a bottle and drink it. Or if this comes to pass, I don't know if I can stay sober. If this comes to pass, I don't know what's going to happen. All of these are reservations, and they're dangerous. They're dangerous for people like you and me, for people that are trying to walk the straight and narrow, for people that have a deep, dark past that they don't want to revisit. Reservations can land you right back there very quickly. So I encourage you to identify your reservations, and if you have them. I definitely had some. I can't remember what my original reservations were. The first time around I got sober, I had some, and it was hard to admit that I had them. You know why, though? I think it was hard to admit because it meant I had to crush them. It meant I had to do some hard work on the inside. Did I change the time of TLB, asks Shannon. No, I'm trying out different time slots. This is the second time, or this is the second day in a row we've done this time. I kind of like it. But yeah, we're just trying out different time slots. I'm not entirely sure where we're going to land. I do like this one. I did like the 8 a.m. as well. Both of those worked really well for me. I think 10 is too late. Personally, it is noon on the East Coast, so we had an interesting turnout for that, right? I liked it a lot. But out of the two, I think 10 is my least favorite of the 3 times we've tried. I'm glad you went looking, Nicola. Nicola says no notification. I wonder why that happens. I noticed that when I post the video 30 minutes before showtime, it will send me a notification at the 30 minutes, and then it will send me a notification when I go live. So I wonder if that affects whether or not y'all get notifications if I put it up early enough. It might be my fault. So if that's the case, I can fix that. Brianna says, I once heard when this girl would go out dancing with her friends that she would pretend that she couldn't hear the bartender, then whisper in their ear to put water in her glass instead of vodka. Clever. I guess if you are trying to not admit, right, that you're not drinking, I guess that is a way to go about it. But what a lot of work, all this pretending and whispering, when you could just be like, hey, I'm not drinking, And if my friends are going to pressure me when I say that, if they're going to make fun of me or tease me, I probably need some new friends personally. And I can't speak for everybody, but I don't like being shamed for the way that I am. I don't like not being accepted just as much as the next guy or gal. So things to think about, acceptance. Anyways, good to see you, Yadira. Hello. My brain is still a little slow this morning, y'all. Annika says, I let too many people in when I was new to my recovery and ended up so hurt, almost ended up relapsing because of the alcoholics in my family. Now I avoid them like the plague. Can't let toxicity near me. Absolutely. Again, we are the proprietors of our space. We get to decide who comes in, who goes out, et cetera, et cetera. We get to decide what goes on in our space. And if stuff's going on in our space that we don't like and we can't stop it, we can just move our space, right? We can move ourselves. So yeah, you are the proprietor. Thank you for sharing that, Annika. I appreciate that. Shannon says, yes, be proud of not drinking, not ashamed. Absolutely. So how does it feel? Let's imagine doing this event, whatever we're doing, this non-sober space that we're going to invade, this event that we're going to go do with our friends, this parade we're going to go to. Maybe we're doing it the Day of the Dead parade, right? Maybe we're going out for Halloween. We're going to a Halloween party. We like to dress up, but we still don't want to drink. How does it feel when you envision yourself going to this place? What does it feel like? Does it feel comfortable? Do you feel anxious? Are you scared, worried? Run it through in your head, right? Prepare yourself mentally. And I would observe these responses and log them for later. Lise, hello. Space Jesus says off subject, but if we have any gore slasher fans, go check out Terrifier 3. Did you know, Space Diesel, that Rob Zombie directed a few films, a few slashers himself? When I found that out, I immediately went and watched them, and I did I believe I did a report. My brain is a little foggy. Senior year, I did a critical studies in film class. And I did a report on Rob Zombie as a director. Everybody wanted to do Tim Burton, and I'm not one to fight, so I chose Rob Zombie, and it was a good move. House of a Thousand Corpses and I believe The Devil's Rejects are both Rob Zombie films. I'm really excited for Day of the Dead. Halloween's probably one of my favorite holidays. Roberta, good to see you. Good morning. Annika's shouting this channel out in one of the makeup videos I'm editing. Heck yeah, thank you so much for that. Love you guys. Thanks for being a safe space. We definitely we do our best. I'm glad that it has become so. I'm glad that it stays that way, and I'm glad that it serves the people that come here. It makes me really happy. How does it feel envisioning yourself on this journey, right? It's inevitable that you're going to find yourself in a situation where alcohol or drugs or maybe even your DOC is present, right? Will you cease to live your life for fear of drugs and alcohol? The answer is no, but we don't want to jump in recklessly, right? We have our tools. We have our spiritual tools, and we've been doing the inner work, right? If we haven't, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we're not ready for this, but This is why we go through the trouble of busting out the journal. This is why we go through the trouble of showing up to the boat. This is why we go through the trouble of doing all that inner work that's hard, that hurts, right? That evokes emotions, that dredges up the past. Well, it's to live our lives fully and completely. It's so that we can face what comes next. If we can't face what has transpired, how can we expect to face what has not yet come to pass? You know, if we're running from the past, what are we going to do in the future? Right. So we have to do this inner work, this journaling, this service. So we're ready, so we can have power over our lives again, eh? And we're going to talk about journaling a little bit real quick. This is a way to organize the mind, right? I can't tell you how different of a headspace I was in when I first started journaling. If I go back and I read my first, and by the way, I think it's worth mentioning right here. When I did AA, the first time around I got sober, I went to AA. They had me writing in a journal. They didn't call it journaling. They called it step work, this, that, and the other, but they had me writing from Jump Street. So I think the importance of journaling is not that slept on. It's universally recognized, right? All successful people write things down. It is a fact. So I would definitely get on that if you're not writing it down. Anyways, so this is a way to organize the mind. That first journal I was talking about, the mindset, the headspace that I was in, that I can totally, if I just read those pages, I can tell, like, wow, I was in a very different place. That is the power of the journal, right? Is to log where I'm at. It's kind of like a control group, right? However I'm feeling today, well, how was I feeling, on January 24th, 2024, when I decided to get sober? Well, probably very, very different. And it helps keep things in perspective. I think that is a powerful tool. And why would you not use it, right? With something like that. I can go back and check out my mindset from all kinds of different days, compare them to today. Or maybe I'm today facing a problem. I don't necessarily know what to do. Is there yogurt in my mustache? There is. I was having strawberries and yogurt this morning. Jeremy Fowler, good to see you. No worries, man. I'm sure you got stuff going on. I've been seeing you in the comments, and I appreciate you, big dog. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Butterfly. Hey, y'all. Listening while working on Bride's Bouquet. Stressed a little, but it's a good stress. Helps me know that I'm alive, eh, Pajama Pixie? That's what I say about stuff that doesn't feel good. Organizing the mind, right? And then, so if we're journaling and we have these bookmarks, right? Mentally, these mental bookmarks of like, okay, this is where I was here, this is where I was there. Do we have the presence of mind to make critical decisions in the moment? So if I'm walking through life and I realize that, oh, I was journaling about this the other day, this is what ends up happening if I keep doing this. Well, the power to critically think and choose differently in the moment comes down to presence of mind, right? Are you balanced enough? Are you grounded enough? Can you take a step back in the moment, like hold on and realize what's going on and then shift your course? For someone that's always running towards the doorway, always running to their next destination, which I share this from experience. That's my natural way, is to just recklessly run through the doorway and see what's in there, right? Kick the door in, dive through the window. That's definitely my style. When I was a kid, I would run around grandma's house so much. I would leave little skid marks on the hardwood floor. She would make me go back with a rag and clean up all my little shoe marks because I was turning corners so quickly in my sneakers. So for people like that, it's really hard to have the presence of mind to choose differently in the moment. It's really hard to have the presence of mind to even realize that something's happening that's happened before. And to realize the pattern even. So I've had to slow down a lot. And not always. Sometimes I'm still quick. I love being quick. It's natural for me, right? But there are a lot of times where I intentionally slow myself down so that I don't stub my toe, right? Or I intentionally slow myself down so that I can choose differently. That contrary action in the moment, right? Okay, I'm not going to go to the strip club with my sober friends because why would we do that? Last time that happened, X, Y, and Z happened, right? I mean, that one's a pretty obvious alarm blaring example, but there are very subtle ways that this can serve you very well. Deidre Gore says, well, when I'm in bad pain, I can't think straight as at all. I do stupid stuff. I'm like the opposite of my normal self. When we're not in our right mind, crazy things happen. When we're not in our right mind, it's like someone else is driving the ship, ain't it? Words, Loving Failure says, words are the zipper to the implicit feelings and explicit thoughts that can unite our consciousness. Words are the zipper to the implicit feelings and explicit thoughts that can unite our consciousness. Interesting. I'm going to have to digest that a little bit, I think. Loving Failure. It's a little bit more than my brain can chew right now. What is going on? Yes. That took me a second. I agree. That is very curious. You have very prolific things to say, good sir, and I appreciate you. All right, so we're journaling. We've got presence of mind. I also was talking the other day, when I don't self-love or self-care well enough, my ability to critically choose in the moment falls drastically, right? So if I'm not getting the proper nutrition, if I'm not eating my meals a day, if I'm not sleeping, if I'm not getting the proper sleep, my ability to do these things in the moment, especially in the moment, on the fly, under pressure, is greatly diminished. Right? I'm definitely not going to go out and do an exciting thing in a public space that probably has drugs and alcohol present if I'm lacking sleep, right? If I didn't have food today, I'm probably going to eat before I go do something like this, because I would like my machine, my body, to have the fuel that it needs to effectively make decisions, to effectively move through the world. Because, when I don't move effectively through the world, bad things happen. I make poor decisions. I've been to jail. I would like to not go back. Et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's lots of things at stake other than my freedom as well. Like there's the freedom of my mind, right? I might just land myself slave to a substance again. So I think that arming myself, all this preparatory work has a great, great purpose, right? Journaling, having proper nutrition and sleep, a little bit of exercise, maybe practicing some way to center in and have the presence of mind to choose differently in the moment. All of these things serve to allow me to live my life, right? All of these things serve to fuel my machine properly so that I'm ready for the day, so that I'm ready for whatever challenges may come. Because, life's a really good pitcher. If you watch baseball, life will throw you all kinds of curveballs, sinkers, heaters. Life likes to keep you guessing. So in order to meet life on life's terms, I do all of these things. Using order to deal with the disorderly, using calm to deal with the clamorous, is mastering the heart. Sun Tzu, is this the art of war? I looked to my left to see if the art of war was there, but it's just the language of Tolkien's Middle Earth. Not just, but it's not the art of war, that's for sure. Neuroscience tells us, says Loving Failure, there's a low road of cognitive thinking that's really only a fraction of the superhighway of the high road of data that our bodies, especially our guts, absorb and filter. Is this like this reminded me of something when I first started reading it. Now it's gone. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I have noticed that there are base levels of thinking, though, and there are like higher, I guess I could say frequencies. And I've definitely noticed that certain things have a certain energy about them. Like, for example, when I was hanging out with the cocaine crowd, when I was doing lots of coke and smoking crack and doing lots of drinking, there's something very low frequency about that drug. And honestly, alcohol as well. I never found myself in high society. I never found myself having conversations of substance. I never found myself thinking or doing anything of substance when I was on that substance. In fact, I felt like my outward expressions would be even more surface level. Everything about what I was doing and what I was embodying was much more low road cognitive, was much more surface when I was doing coke, as opposed to I don't know. I don't know what an opposition there is, but I don't want to compare it to other drugs because then I feel like I'm glorifying. So we'll stop there. HALT is a really good acronym as well. Thank you for this, DeAudrey Gore. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Yeah, if I'm any of these things, it's probably not very good. In fact, I think that I might not go on that hiking trip just because I don't feel like I've been self-caring properly enough. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth with my new friends, you know? Kellyanne, good to see you. Of course, of course. Yeah, surface emotions, that low frequency stuff, caveman brain, right? Fight or flight, survive. Um, in some contexts, this is a good thing, right? Surviving, great, right? Protect myself, great. But the surface level, there, when it's applied to certain things, it's inadequate, right? We need a higher level of thinking for certain things, for a lot of things in today's world. A lot of chemicals separate us from our feeling bodies. Think Antonio Damasio, feeling machines that think. Absolutely. And, you know, that's part of the purpose of this channel is to preach connection, to provide connection, right? We believe here that connection is the opposite of addiction. So through each other, through peer support, through having conversations, building relationships, building hobbies in real time, I think that we can make a huge difference. I'm really happy that you're a part of the boat, Loving Failure. You're one of the names that I'm noticing a lot more recently that just has wonderful, profound things to say, and I really appreciate you. Mary Taylor, good morning. The simpler you keep life, the easier it is. Food, shelter, clothing, absolutely. And you know, life looks way, way different, black and white different, when I have these things. And for a lot of years, I didn't have food, shelter. I guess I've always had clothing, right? When I was homeless, my clothing became much more valuable. Socks became a luxury. But now that I have all of these things, I have to say what goes on in my head is completely different. How I feel throughout the day is completely different. Not having to worry, like not worrying about where my next meal is going to come from is a game changer. And for a lot of you, maybe that doesn't help at all. For a lot of you, maybe you've never been there. But not knowing where my next meal is going to come from, not knowing where I'm going to rest my head, what kind of shelter or not shelter is going to be over me is a mind-bending concept. It makes things difficult. Naomi Hales, Wharton Fissel, welcome in. What is going on? Yeah, anger is one of the first emotions that I learned very well to understand. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I've read this. I have definitely seen this before. I bet you I can get a visual up here for us. I was about to start talking about it. I hadn't put it up yet. Physiological needs are at the bottom, right? So this is our base. This is our foundation. Hopefully you can see my mouse. Breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. Like this is the stuff that we fight or flight for. This is the base caveman stuff right here. We need all of this just to be, right? And then on top of that, in order to get to safety and security, we have to have our physiological needs, right? So we do this first, and then we get health, employment, property, family, social ability. So safety and security. Having physiological needs met allows us to start meeting our safety and security needs. And therefore, safety and security needs allow us to start fulfilling our love and belonging. I was talking about this with my buddy Nathaniel the other day, actually. I think he called it something else, but this is what it is. Friendship, family, intimacy, and sense of connection. So once we handle all of those things, we can handle self-esteem. We can start working on our confidence, achievement, respect of others, the need to be a unique individual. And then the very, very tip, once we have physiological safety, security, love, belonging, esteem, self-esteem all handled, we can start thinking about morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential, right? So this is our woke capstone here. This is where ideally we would like to be. It's the most fun to be there. But in order to get there, we have to make sure, and I refer to this as my juggling balls often. I'm always trying to add something to my juggle of life, right? My physiological needs, my safety and security, my love and belonging, all these things that I need to feel proper. I refer to it as a little juggling act. And sometimes when I add too many balls at once, I drop one that's been in rotation for a long time, right? So let's say I make a new friendship, or maybe I get a girlfriend. I'm finding this sense of connection with the fire tribe I've never had before, or something like that. Well, maybe I drop like brushing my teeth, right, twice a day. Maybe I drop the doing my laundry ball or something like that, right? So my experience with this pyramid is baby steps work for me, because I can try to, like I was saying earlier, run through the door and see what's in there. But I most likely am going to realize that I should have brought my backpack with me that I left outside when I started running. So I try to add one thing at a time, just baby steps. And eventually, sometimes I dip into this purple area, but I don't think that I'm quite there yet. I struggle with love and belonging and self-esteem still, 100%. But eventually, I think that these things will be nailed down, so they don't move. And, then we can start self-actualizing. Patty Collins, good to see you. I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I've been sending good vibes and saying prayers for you. I hope everything's all right with you. It's really good to see you. Zen Wen, good to see you. Thank you for your everlasting support. It's really good to see you, Zen. I hope this message finds you well. I'm so happy to be able to listen in today. Many words of wisdom. Thank you, Calhoun. And Boat, can't chat, but will be listening. Much love to everyone. For those that can't chat, is now like a busy time of day. This is part of the time slot experiment, right? Y'all may be catching me, but maybe you're pulling strings to do so, right? Maybe you're cutting corners to do so, which, do your thing. I just want to, looking for the best possible time slot for the morning. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would do all 3, 8, 9, and 10. But right now, today we started at 9. Yesterday we did 9. The day before we tried 10. I kind of like 8 and 9 better than 10, but I'm just curious if y'all are having to do a little extra to watch me at this time slot or not. But either way, it's really good to see you, Zen. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for the support. Catalina, good to see you. Jennifer Folsom, yo, yo, yo. Brianna Miller says, being human takes so much work at laughing out loud. So many things to do just to be okay. And I wonder, was it always like that? When we were cavemen, I guess, there was a lot more to do, right? I had to make sure I had a cave to sleep in or whatever. I had to go probably kill what I was going to eat, or, find it under a tree or something like that. But these days, we have all kinds of work in very different areas, right? We have lots of inner work to do. I think that the inner work becomes necessary because the physical world around us is just accelerating at such a speed, right? We've got all these computers, microchips, cell phones, video cameras, microphones, blah, 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 blah. All these things are changing the way that the world is. And, are we doing spiritual work at the same pace? Absolutely not. So I think that we have a lot of catch up to do. There is a balance of physical and spiritual, which I don't think that we've ever talked about here before. But I often think about this phenomenon. I think that we have all this work to do to catch up with the physical world that's outpacing us. And honestly, it doesn't have to outpace us. We kind of allow it to, right? I get wrapped up with this new game that just came out. It's so exciting, right? I'm going to play it and not do my inner work. It's kind of like a maintenance for your soul, right? Doing this inner work. I don't think that it's ever going to stop. It might get easier. We might get used to it. We might get better at it, more adept. But I think that even so, the same lessons are going to spiral back later on in life, just to make sure that we learned that lesson, just to make sure that we remember. I've already experienced this in my short 32 years, having to learn many lessons many times. Part of that's my own stubborn fault, right? But part of it is that I think that the same lessons just circle back. Even if I think I've got this one under control, it's going to present itself in a different way, just to make sure that I know what to do. Rocket Queen, what's going on? Thank you so much. Look at that little kitty. That little kitty. Annika says, any of the day slots are good for me. I'm on the East Coast, though. As soon as my husband and kids get home, I can't take any time for myself to listen. I always miss the later lives. All right. Well, I hear you. So all of those work for you. Yeah, being a mom's a full-time job. Being a mom and a wife, I bet. And also, thank you for doing so. I appreciate you. I'm not entirely sure that I want to be a father. It's definitely, I look at it as an act of service, even though it's much more than that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm down. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I could do it. Robin Miners, always a pleasure. Hello, good morning. How are you? Mocked says, I consider my anxiety level an early warning system to some degree, because if it increases, I didn't, take as much care of myself. I would have to agree personally. Oof, wow, sorry about that. Blessed to Crochet, Millie the Dandelion. What's going on, guys? Noise opera. Most importantly, whatever time works for you, Captain. Oh, well, thank you. I definitely am going to serve myself in that regard, but I think it's cool to ask and see what you guys think as well. Spanx, if you have doubts about having kids, that's a pretty good reason not to. Well, let's break this down for a second. This is good content. Why do I have doubts? Well, I think it's pretty obvious if you take a sec to think about it. My childhood was such a cluster mess. I think that it's natural that I have anxiety thinking about that for myself, right? I definitely don't want to, I don't want to produce another me, right? I don't want to put a kid through what I went through. And I don't think that I would, right? But I think it's only natural that I fear this because of what I went through as a child. There were so many happenings, lessons. There are so many experiences that I'm still to this day processing, right? That maybe I'll never heal all the way. Who knows? But man, yeah, I just can't wrap my brain around bringing a kid into the world for that reason. Probably for more too, but congratulations on your sobriety, by the way, Annika. That's awesome. That's a wonderful story. Thank you for saying that, Nicola. I definitely get this sentiment a lot. And it is inspiring. Millie says, I made the decision not to have kitties and don't regret it. I struggle to manage myself, let alone a little version of me. And I come back to this thought for myself a lot, Millie. I struggle to manage myself, I don't think that having a kid is going to fix me. I think it's going to make things harder, And I've had this thought as well, Brianna. I don't know if I will, but maybe I'll adopt. Who knows? Who knows? Because I bet you what, if I have kids, I don't think it'll be because I want kids. It'll be because I want to raise children. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter if they're mine or not. It's not like some genetic desire to procreate and further my seed, right? That's definitely not what it would be about at all. Robin Miner says, I knew from a very young age I did not want kids. Well, I love that for you. And in fact, that sounded weird coming out of my mouth. This inspires me to be honest with myself about what I want, because part of me, when I have this thought, right, I don't want kids, part of me says, well, you should want kids. And I think that's some genetic predisposition to want to procreate and spread the seed, right? And you seem happy. You seem happy, Robin, I have to say. That's another thing I worry about. Am I going to be happy when I'm older? And I'm not saying that you're older, but you're older than I am. Yeah, am I going to be happy later on in life without kids? So that's hopeful. That makes me have hope, Robin, and I appreciate that. And you tell me you're leaving. Call me up on the phone. All right. We were talking about nutrition and sleep. Give your body what it needs to succeed, right? All right, back in it. So this is the part where we talk about therapy, mental health, physical health. The substance may not be the only issue present, right? So if we're looking to go on some adventure, if we're looking to invade a non-sober space as a sober individual, it's worth considering what's going on in your head beforehand, right? Do I have some mental or physical health issues that need to be accounted for, right? Like for me, I have ADHD, which presents its own unique challenges, but I think that that's not like a I can't go do this thing now kind of mental thing, right? But maybe I'm depressed, or maybe I'm bipolar, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. It is definitely, when you're considering going into a non-sober space as a sober individual, it's definitely worth taking account of what's already in the tank, right? What's already in my head. And it's important to address all of your health issues, whether they be mental or physical, whether they relate to your substance abuse or not. It's important to address all of them to increase our overall health, right? I tell you what, if one of the reasons that food, nutrition, sleep, one of the reasons all of these things are so important for me to make proper decisions in the moment, for me to have that presence of mind, is because of my ADHD, right? If I don't fuel the machine properly, my brain kind of gets away from itself. It kind of gets away from me. And in order to reel it in order to have dominion over my own mind properly, I need to have nutrition and sleep and exercise. So, it's definitely, that's a conclusion that I've come to, right? My mental health suffers significantly when I don't have all of these things, right? So anyways, it's important to address the mental stuff. It's important to address the spiritual stuff. It's important to address all health, especially when considering going into the rat's den, so to speak. Also, Millie can attest to this one. Bring a friend, right? Bring someone that will help keep you accountable. Someone you trust, someone you're comfortable with, right? They don't necessarily need to be your sober friend, but they're your friend that knows you're sober and they respect your decisions and they want to back you up, right? They want to stand your ground with you. So yeah, I would definitely not go do something like this alone. And I mean, you can, I do personally, but I have a track record of successfully doing so. I would bring a friend, especially if it's your first time going into a non-sober space as a sober individual. Bring someone with you that can have your back. Y'all already know the power of peer support, having friends, just by being here, right? So bringing one real life, physical, I can touch you friend with you on an adventure like this is going to change the game. And again, so in conclusion, this will be challenging. You may not be ready to do so. The goal is to make ready. Is it not? Is it not? Mary Gonzalez, we all need someone to have our back. Absolutely. Connection's the opposite of addiction, y'all. So I want to thank each and every one of you for connecting with me here. I tell you what. I was talking to Takara about kids the last time we saw each other. and she expressed, I don't know if I should talk about her inner feelings. She expressed some concerns. She also said that she wanted them, which was exciting for me because I'm definitely not going to have kids unless I find someone that wants to have them with me, right? So that is a kind of an exciting little hope for like some distant future, right? What was the point of talking about this? I had a whole point. I had a lesson here. Maybe it'll come back to me if I drink some coffee. Well, she expressed anxiety as to, I don't think she would mind. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. She expressed that she was worried that time was running out. And I was like, really? You think we're pretty young, you know? And she was like, well, this, that, and the other. And she listed out some factors that, you know, do kind of make it look like it's not going to happen, right? Well, the current relationships that she has aren't, you know, gonna bear children, right? And you know, she cited not being ready in a number of ways, but you know, struggling to make ready in certain ways as well, which are things that I can all relate with, right? I'm not ready, right? I don't have. Am I going to raise kids in this apartment? No, you know, I could. I choose not to, for sure, though. But that got me thinking. That got me thinking about adoption versus non-adoption. That got me thinking about all kinds of adult stuff that I don't normally think about. Like if I were to have kids, what would I need to get done in life? What would I need to do to feel like I'm prepared? And they say you're never ready, right? You're never truly prepared, but you know, to feel like I have my stuff together would go a long way, which I don't think is unrealistic, right? I'm paying all my bills on time. I have a roof over my head. You know, a lot of things are in order that have never been in order before. But I still definitely don't think that I'm where I would like to be for that. Um, but you know, maybe I'll be blessed. Maybe I'll get lucky, and you know, a few years from now, Takara and I will settle down and have kids. Who knows? I'm not gonna wait for that to happen, but man, if it happens, that's pretty friggin' cool. I think I would love to just raise a little family with a wonderful little lady like Takara. I tell you what, it would make me infinitely happy. Interesting. I think that she has considered this, but if she hasn't, I'm going to bring it up to her. I don't know how she feels about all that stuff. That would be a great segue into more real conversations as well. Not that we lack for real conversations, but there's so much that we like to discuss and want to talk about. It's, you know, it's a lot to get through. So often I have to log stuff in my brain if I want to specifically talk about it because we just start talking. We just get lost and swept up. Having finances together is a huge thing too, says Brianna. Yeah, this is one of my consistent stressors. I'm definitely in a better place than I ever have been, right? But there's still work yet to be done. Mocked, this is a great point. I don't want to be an adult that's acting like a child with children. You know what I mean? Let's take a segue. What do you guys think about leashes on your children? Remember the first time I ever saw a child on a leash? I was in Dave and Buster's with my mom and my dad, or maybe it was just my dad. I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure he pointed it out and laughed. He was like, Spanx, look at that. And he started laughing. And it was a kid on a leash. And I tell you what, this kid, say what you will about children on leashes, this kid needed to be on a leash. He was like a rabid animal. Maybe it's because he was on the leash. I don't know. I tend to think that it's kind of hideous, but you know, people have been using the television to educate their children, so why not use a leash, right? What's the difference? Shackles on your mind or a leash on your neck? Anyways, I'm just saying provocative things on purpose. It is kind of a funny concept, but I had never thought about putting a child on a leash. It does kind of seem backwards, doesn't it? I meant to click this and say I agree. Annika says, if they'll run away, heck yeah. But my kid doesn't. But if she did, I would absolutely get her one. Some kids are too unpredictable. And I don't think I'm qualified to make this decision, but I thought of the kid on the leash and thought it's a fun topic to talk about. TKK Anna says, I think we're all here for a reason, and that's being here for one another. I love it and love the boat. Well, the boat loves you. And you're right. You're definitely right about that. We are serving a niche, that's for sure. Something that is needed but hasn't been served, right? A little space to connect. Loving failure was a runner as a kid. Yo, me too. What I was talking earlier about having to clean up the little marks from my sneakers on my grandma's hardwood. I was always turning corners so quickly, would leave marks on the floor. Yeah, right. Screw all the judgmental stares. If someone wants to stare, like, "Hey, do you want to come raise my kid?" Okay, get out of here. I'm using a leash. I fantasize about conversations like that in my head a lot. I will play situations out in my head before even something that I may never experience, but I do this a lot. Lots of daydreaming in my head, and being a parent and telling off other parents is one of my favorite fantasies for some reason. I don't know why. It's like, yo, your kid doesn't need to play with mine. Get out of here, Anyways. Swiss Vapor, what's going on, big dog? It's been a long time. I hope this message finds you well. I am really enjoying all of these leash advocates that I'm reading. It gives me a perspective that I didn't have before. And I mean, it's a perspective I've tried to have, like, maybe they need the leash, right? It's just, I've never had a kid. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around, but all of you people that I love and trust telling me that you advocate, you've put it to good use yourself, or, you would if you needed to, that's a perspective that maybe I need, right? That I couldn't find on my own. Brianna Miller says, I once saw a picture of a mom with a kid on a leash and a dog in a stroller. Made me laugh. Some dogs are really well behaved that they get the stroller. Swiss says, rough times. Let's get some ones up for Swiss and anyone else out there that could use some ones, huh? Well, here's to wishing it gets a little better, Swiss. I walked away. I walked away. Got new wireless leashes. What are you talking about? Talking about headphones? You got a little dog fence for your kids that makes a little frequency that only children can hear when they cross the boundary. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. I will say the first time I heard about that concept of a sound fence for your animals, I was thinking to myself, you're just hurting the dog's ears. But I don't know, maybe that's not the case. But I immediately, when I was a kid, when I heard about this, immediately empathized with the poor pups. Tracking their phones, I guess that does make sense. That is a digital leash, huh? No leash required now. Well, that's good. You do want to outgrow the leash, right? Eventually. That is the goal, right? Well, we're kind of just hanging out now. I have one more question for you guys. What do you guys think? I was getting ready for the show and looking myself in the face today, and I was like, my beard needs to go. What do you guys think? I think I'm going to shave it tomorrow. Maybe I'll shave it right now, like right after this, but I think that I'm starting to look too Amish. Yeah, it's just getting that kind of neck beard out of control, right? Like, what's with doesn't grow here or here? What's going on? Show your new skulls. Okay. I think I need a better light. Oh! Whoa. Robin, there's candy in this one. I didn't even realize it. This one looks like it makes noise and stuff, so I was just trying to figure out how to do that, and the back came off, and there's lifesavers in there. I love lifesavers. I'm going to promptly eat the crap out of those. Maybe I'll try and have breakfast first, but... Oh, I see. I was wondering what that mechanism was. This is actually making it harder to see. Thanks, Auntie Robin. Yeah, I definitely have needed some Halloween decorations. My crystal skulls aren't Halloween enough, I don't think. And then this guy. I feel like I want to put something in him. I feel like he would be a wonderful candle holder, although he does have a kind of a hole in the bottom. But I want, like, this is an inspiring skull because the fact that there's a hole in there, it like kind of, it says there could be more, right? There could be more to it. So maybe on art day, which is going to happen in about 7 days, about a week from now. Maybe on art day, we'll spruce him up and give him like a little hairdo or something. I don't know. Put something in there. I don't know. But I'm have so many ideas that I can't even describe them all. So I'm really excited to play around with this guy. I wish that it shot lifesavers out of the mouth when he did that, but you know, that's just because my brain's crazy. These are really cool. Thank you so much, Robin. I don't usually do decorations, but the older I get, the more excited I get for stuff like that. Like for example, for Dia de los Muertos, for Day of the Dead this year, my buddy Julian and I are gonna go dress up, go to do the parade. I'm gonna set up a little effigy for Tony, maybe make a little sign with his face on it and some flowers, some marigolds. And it's gonna be really exciting. I'm really, really excited. I've never celebrated Day of the Dead before. And apparently it's big down here, so very, very excited. Very, very excited. Martha Hornbostel, afternoon Spanx. Friend collected all kinds of skull items, even a candelabra. Have I showed you guys all my crystals? This one is serpentine. Most of the ones that I have had counterparts, but these were the ones I chose. Like this one, for example, there were a lot of serpentine skulls at the shop I got this, but this one just kind of had this little face mark here, and I really, really liked it. The other ones had more of that dark green than the light green, and were different shades as well. This is, I think, my first one. This is Labradorite. I call him Monty. I don't know why, but it seems to be what he wants to be called. Ooh, I crushed a bug with him. I showed you guys this one the other day. I just got this on my recent trip. This is moss agate, I believe. It's crazy, like granite marbling, this like white marbling. It's super cool. And my buddy gets them wholesale, so I got that one for $20. And then this one, courtesy of the Seventh Son. I forget what this one's called, but it glows in a black light. I have a black light, but I don't want to. It's attached to the back of the computer, so. And then this is called Quesera. There's one mine, I believe, in the whole world in Brazil that has this one. And it kind of looks like snowflake obsidian, but it's dark green with pink flecks. Super dope. Super dope. I have other ones, but I've spread them around. I gave Nathaniel the Dragon's Blood one the other day. Giving something dear to oneself, I think, is a beautiful gift. I think it's a special thing. So I let him choose. I told him he couldn't choose the two my two favorites, but your skull's name is Jacama. Yeah, this is Montego, but we call him Monty for short. And I've had a lot more over the years, but I like to give them as gifts as well. I had a little fluorite, I think it was. I had a little fluorite one that I gave to Bunny. Maybe I gave the fluorite to Lucy. Anyways, There's a lot of them. I have a lot of them out there somewhere. Do you guys know that the skull is a symbol of knowledge? Also beginning and end. Jacama. I know I'm saying that wrong. I have a lot of crystals right here now that we're talking about it. I can't remember what this is. I should know, but this amethyst spear is one of my favorite pieces that I have. Got a bunch in my room too. I have so many. I could just put rocks all over the place. You know, when I was a kid, my grandma's next door neighbor was a dirt lot. It wasn't a house, actually. Right next door was just a bunch of dirt and rocks, and we would go rock hounding next door, and that's how I got into it. It does look like fluorite, doesn't it? All right, guys, I think that's what I have. I think that's it. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. Thank you, Callie and Annika. Thank you guys so much. If that bridge comes, like if my path crosses that bridge, like I'm not afraid. I mean, I do have fear around it, right? But it's one that we'll face with clarity and integrity. So like, don't have no fear. I really, really appreciate your well wishes. It is a point of stress for me in my young age, but I definitely don't. I don't fear not crossing this bridge, right? I don't fear not being able to rise to meet the challenge, right? I fear many other existential things that may or may not be relevant. I'm definitely on the back end of being sick. I'm feeling a lot better. It's my absolute pleasure, Millie. I will continue to do so. And, you know, may the coming days bring more excitement than they ever have before, huh? Good morning, Heather Rhodes. All right, y'all. I believe my dad's going live on Sean Atwood today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Am I right there? I'm going to have to check. What the heck? Not my favorite thing. Hiccups. Why is this not working? I need a new phone. Have you guys seen this thing? Look at this. You can see the inside of the phone through the back of the phone. I was shopping for new phones the other day. They're expensive. They are expensive. I was looking for one of those deals where a wireless company will give you a free phone if you switch. No one's trying to do that. And honestly, I don't really want to switch. All the wireless companies are so expensive. I'm not Cricket. What am I doing? Mint Mobile, the Ryan Reynolds wireless. That's what I'm doing. And it's pretty cheap. It's effective, but they don't want to give me a free phone. What am I trying to do here? We're looking for community page, 4 p.m. Eastern today. Wait, no, just kidding. That was a few days ago. I lied. Anyways, I tried. You guys have a wonderful day. Be nice to yourselves. Show yourself some grace, some patience. And I will see you tomorrow morning, and maybe later today. I don't know. And be prepared for our art stream that's coming up. I'm really excited for it. If I could do it today, I would. As soon as all is well in the homestead, we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm really excited about it. The holiday deals are coming up. I will be looking. That's really funny, Ben. That is really funny. It's good to see you, Ben. Very, very good to see you. All right, y'all. Captain Calhoun, out.